Have you ever been scrolling social media, maybe watching a new show, or, even just overhearing a conversation, and suddenly felt like everyone around you was speaking some kind of secret language?
Oh, definitely.
Words like riz or simp or bet just fly by, and you're left feeling, well, a bit lost, maybe. Completely out of the loop.
It's super common, yeah. And it can be pretty frustrating, especially when you're putting in all this effort to really understand modern English, as it's actually spoken.
I know exactly what you mean. Like many of our listeners, I often find myself doing a double take at some new terms. It feels like you need a daily update sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we're driving deep today.
Yeah.
This is basically an ultimate guide to navigating the ever-changing, often confusing, but let's be honest, fascinating world of modern slang. Our mission here is to decode English slang. We want to reveal the meanings, the nuances behind those trendy phrases that often leave English learners scratching their heads.
And the truth is, English slang changes so fast, it's almost dizzying. What was cool yesterday might be cringe today.
Agrees.
And a whole new set of words can just pop up overnight.
Yeah.
So this exploration, it's really designed to cut through that confusion and help you navigate this really dynamic landscape.
Our promise to you is pretty simple. This deep dive, it's going to equip you with the knowledge to not just understand this stuff, but maybe even use some terms confidently.
Right.
So your English sounds fresh, relevant, connected to today's world. This isn't about just memorizing lists of words.
No, not at all.
It's more about developing the skills to understand how slang works, how it changes, and how you can stay current.
Yeah, exactly. We'll look at where terms come from, what situations they fit, their subtle meanings. We'll show you how to maybe spot what teenagers are using versus what's okay in a casual chat.
And maybe what to definitely avoid in, say, an office setting.
Oh, absolutely. What you should not say in a professional setting. That's key. And look, for any serious English learner, really getting a handle on slang is, well, it's a crucial step towards genuine comprehension.
So imagine just effortlessly understanding those internet memes or casual chats, maybe the latest song lyrics, without missing a beat. That feeling of real connection, that cultural fluency, that's what we're aiming to help you achieve today. So get ready. It should be an exciting linguistic adventure. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why bother? Why bother with slang at all? Isn't standard English enough?
That's a fair question. A really good one, actually. And the simple answer is it's about genuine understanding, like truly getting it.
Okay.
First off, slang is just everywhere. You can't really escape it. Casual conversations, obviously, but all over social media, popular entertainment, movies, TV, music, even news headlines sometimes.
Right.
So if you ignore it, you're basically missing out on a huge chunk of everyday English communication.
Yeah, you're right. It is ubiquitous. You really can't avoid it. And I guess that's why it's so frustrating for learners when they miss that part of the conversation.
Exactly. And secondly, slang is kind of like a living snapshot. It reflects current events, cultural trends. It often packs these complex ideas or feelings into just one short, clever word or phrase. So understanding it gives you really valuable cultural insight.
That's fascinating. So if it's a cultural snapshot, can you maybe give an example? Like how a term might come from an event and then maybe change or even disappear?
Sure, yeah. Well, think about a term like stay woke. It started in specific social justice movements, right? Then it moved into more mainstream use, though, its meaning is sometimes debated now.
Okay, great.
Or even how Karen became this shorthand for a certain kind of behavior.
Yeah.
These terms capture a public mood, conversations happening at a specific moment.
Gotcha.
And using slang appropriately, when you do use it, it makes your English sound more natural, more authentic.
All right. Less like a textbook.
Exactly. It signals that you understand the nuances, how people really talk. Plus, it's often just efficient. It's a shortcut, conveying a lot of meaning quickly in informal settings.
So it saves time. And I imagine it helps with building connections, too, making you feel part of the group.
Absolutely. Slang is a really powerful tool for building rapport. When you can understand, or maybe occasionally use a relevant term, it helps you feel like you belong, fosters those social bonds. And for learners, tackling slang forces you to move beyond just literal meaning. You have to infer from context, which is such a vital skill for overall fluency.
Yeah.
Think about how frustrating it is when you understand every single word in a sentence, but you still miss the main point because of one slang term you didn't catch.
Oh, totally. That's the worst.
So this deep dive, it really aims to break down that barrier for you.
And it's not just a nice to have, is it? Being able to recognize and understand slang, it's actually a sign of pretty advanced English skills.
That's exactly right. Embracing it, learning about it, it's really about becoming a more complete, more connected communicator.
So, getting to grips with slang isn't just about sounding cool or trendy. It's actually about being a better communicator overall. It's an exciting way to boost your vocabulary, too.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've talked about why slang is so important. But given that, as you said, dizzying pace of change, the big question for our listeners must be, how do we even spot these new terms? How do we build that slang radar?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Developing your radar really involves active listening and just paying attention in different real-life English situations.
Okay, so where should we be looking?
Well, first, pay close attention to dialogue in popular TV shows, especially things like sitcoms, teen dramas, reality TV. They're often gold mines for current slang.
Right.
Don't just watch for the plot. Really listen to the language they're using.
That's actually a pretty fun way to learn. What else?
Social media, of course. It's huge. Follow popular accounts. Read the comments sections. Sometimes the comments are where it really happens.
Oh, yeah.
Pay attention to trending topics, hashtags, and popular music, too, particularly genres like pop, hip-hop, R&B. Song lyrics are often packed with contemporary slang.
So basically, immerse yourself in the kind of media you probably already enjoy, but just tune your ears a bit differently.
Exactly that. And when you hear or see an unfamiliar word or phrase that seems to pop up a lot or has this sort of implied meaning, make a note of it. Write it down. That's your slang radar starting to work.
Okay.
Also, notice when native speakers maybe use air quotes or they clarify a term for someone else. That could be a big clue. It's new or informal slang. And pay attention to phrases that just don't make literal sense, like that it's giving. Example, if it doesn't literally mean giving, it's probably slang.
And what if I'm still stuck? Context isn't quite helping.
Don't be afraid to ask. If you have a trusted native speaker friend, just ask them, especially if it's an informal setting. Hey, what does that mean? Direct inquiry is often the quickest way.
Right.
You can also check online slang dictionaries like Urban Dictionary. But, and this is a big but, use them with caution.
Why caution?
Because it's user-generated. Definitions can be inaccurate, sometimes offensive, sometimes just plain weird or joke entries. Always look for agreement across multiple entries, or see if you can find the term discussed on a more reliable language blog or site.
Good tip.
Ultimately, it's about pattern recognition, too. Slang often emerges in certain ways: short, punchy, very expressive. Recognizing those patterns helps you spot potential new words.
So this kind of proactive approach, building your radar, it makes learning more effective and keeps you ready for new terms as they pop up.
Exactly. You're ready to decode.
Okay, so once you've spotted a new slang term using your radar, what do you actually do to figure it out? What are the decoding strategies?
Right, so the number one tool is context. Always context. Let's take that word riz again, if you hear it for the first time.
Okay.
Pay close attention to the words around it, the whole sentence, maybe even the sentences before and after. Often, that surrounding language gives you strong clues about the general meaning, or maybe the emotional tone. Is the speaker excited, disappointed, agreeing?
So look at the bigger picture, not just the single word in isolation.
Precisely. And observe the situation itself. Who's talking? To whom? Where are they? A casual chat with friends is very different from, say, a business meeting. That context tells you a lot. And don't forget nonverbal cues. Facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, these can totally change or clarify the meaning. Sarcasm, for example, flips everything.
That's a great point about tone. It can be so subtle, but completely shift the meaning.
Definitely. Also, listen for repetition. If you hear the same term used by different people in similar situations, that's a strong sign it's a common term and gives you more examples to learn from. And consider the overall topic of the conversation. If everyone's talking at a fantastic party and someone says, yeah, that party was lit, you can probably infer lit means something positive, exciting in that context.
Right, makes sense. And if context still isn't quite enough,
then, yeah, you can turn to online resources like Urban Dictionary. But again, carefully. Look for agreement between entries.
Cross-reference.
Yes. And sometimes you can try breaking down the term if it's made of multiple parts, like ghosting. The ghost part gives you a hint of disappearance, even if it's not literal.
Ah, okay.
And honestly, don't be afraid to just make an educated guess sometimes. Even if you're not 100% right, The process of trying to figure it out reinforces those analytical skills.
So it's kind of like a fun linguistic puzzle you get to solve. And I guess the more you do it, the better you get.
Exactly. It really improves with practice. The more authentic English you're exposed to, the sharper your contextual decoding skills become.
Okay, so with all that understanding of how slang works, how to spot it, how to decode it, I think it's time for the really fun part. Let's actually dig into some of these terms.
Let's do it.
What are the big categories we should know about, and maybe which ones should we focus on first?
Right. Well, slang doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It often comes from specific places or groups. Probably the fastest moving category is social media or internet slang.
Makes sense.
That's where you get terms like, the classic LOL, IMO, but also newer ones like POV, simp, riz, cap, or no cap.
Okay.
Then there's youth slang or Gen Z slang, which often overlaps a lot with internet slang. Think of phrases like, it's giving, bet, salty, maybe ghosting.
I hear those constantly. What about other areas? Where else does it come from?
Well, there's pop culture slang. This comes from movies, TV shows, songs, sometimes even famous quotes from celebrities, like, it's not that deep, or spill the tea. There's gaming slang from video game communities. Things like GG for good game, noob, AFK, away from keyboard.
It's interesting. Gaming slang often focuses on being super concise, like GG, because time matters in games. Shows how context shapes the language.
Fascinating.
Then you've got regional slang specific to places like y'all in the southern U.S. or mate in Australia and the U.K., in it in the U.K.
Right.
And finally, there's even professional slang or jargon, those informal shortcuts people use within specific industries, like maybe synergy or... Let's drill down on that.
Okay, quite a few categories. So for learners, if they want the most impact, where should they focus their energy?
Good question. For the most widespread use and just everyday casual conversation, I'd say focus on general internet and youth slang. Those will give you the most bang for your buck, the terms you're most likely to actually hear and maybe want to understand day to day.
All right, that makes sense. Let's get into the specifics then. Decode some of these popular terms for us right now. Let's do it. First one, riz. You hear this a lot. It's a noun, basically short for charisma, but specifically about someone's ability to flirt, charm, or attract people romantically.
Okay.
So you might say, that guy has serious riz, everyone seems to like him.
Got it. Riz is like charm, but for flirting. What about simp?
Okay, simp. This could be a noun or a verb. It describes someone, usually male historically, but it's broadening, who is like overly eager to please someone they're attracted to, often kind of at their own expense, doing way too much.
Oh, okay.
So an example might be, he's simping hard over her, always buying her gifts she doesn't even ask for.
Right. And one I hear all the time is cap or no cap. What's that about?
Yeah, super common. Cap basically means a lie or an exaggeration.
Okay.
So no cap means the opposite, no lie. For real, I'm being serious. I'm not kidding.
So you could say,
that story sounds like cap. No way that actually happened. Or, I finished the whole project in one night, no cap, meaning I really did.
Okay, that one's definitely useful. How about bet? It seems so simple.
Bet is simple. It's just an affirmative response. It means, yes, okay, sounds good, I agree, I'm down. Like, want to grab coffee later?
Yeah.
Bet. It's just a casual agreement.
Okay. And the one that always confuses me a bit, it's giving.
Yes, it's giving. This is an expression used to describe the vibe, the feeling, the impression that something gives off. It's usually followed by a noun or adjective describing that vibe.
Right. So an example.
That outfit is giving main character energy. Or, this situation is giving awkward. It describes the overall feeling.
I love that one. Okay, what about slay?
Slay. This is usually a verb or just an expression of approval. It means to do something exceptionally well, impressively, to nail it. Often used as a compliment.
Okay.
Her presentation was amazing. She totally slayed it. Or even just seeing someone looking great. Some might say slay.
Got it. And maybe a more negative one, ghosting.
Yeah, ghosting, that's a verb. It's the act of just suddenly ending all communication with someone without any explanation. Especially common in dating or friendships now. Just disappearing like a ghost.
Ouch.
Yeah. So, he just ghosted me after our first date, never replied to my texts again.
Okay. And how about feeling salty?
Salty, that's an adjective. It means feeling annoyed, bitter, maybe a bit resentful, often used when someone's upset after losing a game or feeling slighted.
Oh, okay.
He lost the game and now he's acting really salty about it.
That's a fantastic list to get started. That definitely clears things up. But like we said, knowing what these mean is only half the battle, right?
Absolutely.
Knowing when, and maybe more importantly, when not to use slang is crucial.
You are absolutely right. Navigating those different levels of formality, what we call registers, that's key. It's about using these trendy phrases appropriately and avoiding, awkward moments or misunderstandings.
So where is it okay?
Well, informal settings are generally fine. Casual chats with friends, family, people you know well. Parties, texting, social media posts to your peers, usually okay, often even expected.
So with your close circle, feel free, but I'm guessing formal situations are a no-go.
A definite no-go.
Yeah.
You really need to avoid slang in professional environments. Job interviews, business meetings, formal emails, academic writing, presentations.
Why is that?
It can just make you sound unprofessional, maybe disrespectful, or even immature in those contexts. It undermines your credibility.
Yeah, definitely not the impression you want to give when you're trying to get a job or impress your boss. What about people you've just met?
Good question. With new acquaintances, especially if you're unsure about their age or background, it's usually best to start with more neutral, standard English. Play it safe initially.
Okay.
Then, as you get a feel for the conversation, if you sense they use some slang and the context feels right, maybe you can introduce a little bit, but ease into it.
And age matters too, right?
Yeah, definitely be mindful of age appropriateness. Some slang is very strongly linked to specific age groups, particularly younger ones. Using very Gen Z slang if you're, say, middle-aged or vice versa, can sometimes sound a bit forced or out of touch.
Agrees. I think I once tried using on fleek way after it was cool.
Oh, no.
Not like slightly.
Yeah, my teenage cousin just gave me this look. Total cringe moment, as you'd say.
Exactly. See, we've all been there.
Yeah.
What else should we watch out for?
What else?
Remember that slang can be really regional. What's common in American English might be totally unknown or even mean something different in British or Australian English.
Good point.
So if you're talking to people from different places or if you're just unsure, sticking to more universally understood terms is safer. And also, don't overdo it. Even when slang is appropriate, using too much can sound unnatural.
Like you're trying too hard.
Exactly. Sprinkling in a few relevant terms naturally, that sounds authentic. But forcing them into every sentence, that can sound really awkward.
So less is often more. Definitely. And always, always remember, it's more important to understand slang than to feel pressured to use it. Comprehension is the main goal. Using it yourself comes later, with confidence and practice.
And if you're ever unsure,
if you're ever in doubt about whether a term is appropriate for the situation or the person you're talking to, just default to clear, standard English. It's always the safest bet.
That makes sense. That careful navigation, knowing when and when not to use it, that really shows an advanced understanding of the language and its nuances.
Exactly. It shows you get the social context, not just the words.
Okay, so since English slang is always changing, it seems pretty clear that learning it isn't a one-time thing. Staying current is, well, an ongoing process. So how can we keep up? How do we stay on this linguistic treadmill?
Yeah, your slang learning journey definitely doesn't end after this deep dive. It's a continuous adventure, really. The best way to keep up is continued immersion.
So keep watching those shows, listening to music.
Exactly. Keep watching popular TV and movies, listen to trending music, keep engaging with social media where you see authentic language used. The more you expose yourself naturally, the more you'll just absorb new words and phrases as they emerge.
So basically, keep doing what we talked about for building the radar, but just make it a regular habit.
Precisely. Consistency is key. And keep making notes. That idea of a dedicated notebook or a digital file, keep adding to it. New term, what you think it means, an example sentence you saw or heard it in.
I still love that idea of a slang notebook. Makes it feel more organized.
It's super effective. And keep using those online resources, but smartly. Urban Dictionary is a starting point, maybe, but always try to verify with more reputable language blogs or sites run by linguists or language experts if you can. They often provide more context and nuance.
Right, cross-referencing again.
Yes. And talk to people. Engage with native speakers. If you have friends, language exchange partners, ask them about slang they use. Ask them to clarify terms you've heard. That direct interaction is invaluable.
Don't be shy about asking.
Definitely not. And remember, you don't have to learn everything. Focus on understanding the common terms you actually encounter in the contexts relevant to you. It's totally fine not to know every single new word, even native speakers don't. The goal is high comprehension and being adaptable.
Right, it's about being effective, and able to adapt, not being a walking dictionary of every new word.
Exactly. And pay attention to how slang cycles. Sometimes old terms make a surprising comeback. Being aware of this fluidity helps you see the patterns in how language changes.
That's interesting, like fashion trends for words.
Kind of. And finally, try to practice. Gently incorporate some new, appropriate slang into your own informal conversations. Using it helps solidify your understanding and makes it feel more natural over time. Start small. Use your judgment.
And maybe most importantly, try to embrace the fun of it all. It's a playful part of language.
Absolutely. See it as a fun challenge.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about language as this living, breathing thing, constantly evolving. It's never static.
It really isn't. So by committing to staying curious, staying immersed, and treating it like an ongoing journey, you can really keep up with how to decode English slang and navigate its changes.
You absolutely can.
And there you have it, our deep dive into the fascinating, definitely vibrant, and yeah, sometimes bewildering world of English slang.
Chuckles, yeah.
We started with why it's essential, tackled its rapid evolution, talked about building your radar, mastering decoding, looked at categories and specific examples, and crucially, how to navigate when and when not to use it.
And just to recap that last point, slang is a powerful tool. Use it correctly, it makes your English sound natural, relatable, really fluent. Use it incorrectly or in the wrong place.
Yeah.
It could lead to misunderstandings, maybe some awkwardness. So the key is observation, context, and practice. Proceed with awareness.
Definitely. And your ability to decode slang, to understand it, even if you don't always use it, that's a real sign you're moving beyond just basic English. You're getting the nuances of how the language is truly spoken today. It shows advanced proficiency, cultural savvy.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Ultimately, understanding slang isn't just about learning new words. It's kind of about decoding identity.
How so?
Well, it's how groups signal they belong together, right? How generations mark themselves as distinct. It's a living, breathing reflection of who we are culturally, socially, right now.
That's a really interesting way to put it.
So the next time you hear a new trendy phrase or see some confusing expression online, try not to get frustrated. See it as, like you said, an exciting puzzle to solve, an opportunity to expand your understanding, and just another step towards becoming a truly connected, confident English speaker.
I love that perspective. Keep your ears open, keep your mind curious, and keep your confidence high. Your slang-savvy English self is definitely waiting.
Thanks for listening, and if you found the video helpful, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode, and share it with others who might benefit. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. So your feedback is really important to us. And if you want to continue learning right now, here in this playlist, you'll find helpful videos for English listening practice. You might want to watch it next. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.